Hey everybody, it's Sharon with Threshold Homestead. I hope you guys are having a great day. I have had a busy morning and I've still got quite a bit to do before I go to work this afternoon. I have extra milk this morning. Last night we separated the baby goats from the mama goats and so that I could get the first of the milk, all of the milk this morning. And so all of that went great. All the mamas did great in the stanchion. I had already been milking two of the goats to get milk for us since they had their babies, and we were doing what is called milk sharing. I get them milked in the mornings, and then the rest of the day and overnight the babies nursed from their moms. And so last night was the first night that they were all separated, and this morning I milked 4 goats, and like I said, it went great, but I've got extra milk. So I'm gonna be sharing some recipes with you guys of things that I do with the extra milk. So here we go. Hope you guys enjoy it. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got my Instapot here, and last year I made my cheese in the Instapot, and that's what we're going to be starting the process of making now. I turned the Instapot on and I hit the yogurt button and it'll start heating up, and the next thing that I do is start pouring the milk in. Okay, and I've got 1/2 gallon here, so that's 2 quarts. And I've got nearly another 1/2 gallon here. And nearly a 1/2 gallon here. So I like to get it up to about there, leaving enough room for when this ferments just a little bit, it will have enough room for the curds to rise. And I'm going to add a little bit more that I've got in here. You guys would not believe how quickly this milk will multiply once you go from milking 2 goats to 4. And as I had mentioned in another video, there are several things that I like to use the goat milk for. I like to drink it raw, unpasteurized. You know, I am milking these goats, so I know they're cleaned before the milking begins, and I know that they're fed healthy, good, nutritious food, and they're in a clean environment. I love raw goat milk. It is very nutritious. It is easy to digest, so if you have problems with lactose intolerance, then this is probably a good milk for you to try. You can always try it and see how it affects you, but most people that I know who have tried raw goat milk, they don't have any problems with the digestion of the goat milk. Okay, I stirred that just a little bit, and I am going to put a thermometer in just to kind of keep an eye on the temperature here. I want this to reach about 78, no more than 80 degrees. And then I'm going to add a few more ingredients, and then I'm going to turn it off, close it up for 18 hours. And then I'll come back tomorrow and I will check it just to make sure that the curds have separated from the whey. And then I will slice it And I'll show you guys that process as well in this video. But I'll just take a knife and slice the curds, and then I will dip them out. And with a colander that's got some cheesecloth over it, I'll continue to I'll put the curds into that colander, and then I'll let that continue to drain. Now, I'm not going to let any of this go to waste. The whey, there are several things you can make with whey, but I normally feed it to my potbelly pigs. They love it. And, you know, just to give you guys some other ideas of what you could do with goat milk, you can definitely make yogurt. It is really good. I use it in the process that I make my goat milk soap, goat milk lotion. You know, there's several things that you can do with extra goat milk, and it is just a very versatile product, and it has some properties that I think are, you know, God-given. Definitely, you guys know that I feel that these goats were a dream that I had forgotten about a long time ago, and then God reminded me of it when I was searching, you know, okay, what do I do now at this point in my life? And God reminded me, and I'm so glad he did, because I thoroughly enjoy my goats. Now, it's going to take a while for this to come up to temperature because the milk was kept in the refrigerator, but I'm just going to stir it from time to time, and then we'll come back when it's ready and I'll add the other ingredients. Okay guys, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's about 78 degrees. So I'm gonna stir this one more time, and I think the temperature is gonna be okay. And it is. So I'm gonna turn off my Instapot, and I'm gonna add the rest of the ingredients. Now, I have some rennet, animal rennet, that I'm going to add. Mine is the solid form that you dissolve in water, and I usually just add a little bit of water, just enough to get it to dissolve. So I'm putting all of that in there, scraping the container there. And then what I use, and some people use buttermilk that they make out of their goat milk yogurt, but I just get some plain Greek yogurt, and I add that into the milk. That's going to bring the temperature down just a little bit, but that's okay, because I'm sure the bottom of that Instapot is still warm. And at this point, I'm going to stir it, get it to start up real well. Now this yogurt, that just adds some, good enzymes, probiotics. And those probiotic enzymes are going to activate the cultures in this milk. And I used this recipe last year, and it worked absolutely wonderful. It's a longer process than some of the cheese making recipes that I've seen, but it works great. Make sure all of that gets dissolved. And that's it, guys. This is one of those recipes where you set it and forget it. The next thing I'll do is put the lid on just to keep out any flies or anything, which I don't have any flies right now, but sometimes in the summertime I do. But this will keep the environment good in there. And that top is set to vent. That won't hurt. So I'll come back in about 18 hours sometime tomorrow, and we'll check it and we'll get it to draining. This is my soon-to-be cheese. It has been sitting and resting, and I'm going to cut it. Looks like the culture worked out pretty good. There we go. Now I'm going to cut across. There we go. It's on the move. Okay. Okay. Now, all that is cut. I'm going to take it over to the sink and get it started into draining. Okay, I've got my colander here, and I've got my cheesecloth. And I'm just going to wet this cheesecloth. Squeeze it out. Okay, and then I'm going to spread it over. Okay, and here it is spread over. And I did sanitize this part of the sink. And now I'm going to get the cheese and bring it over and strain it. Okay guys, I've got my curds here that I have cut into pieces, and I've got my strainer ladle, just lifting up the curds out of the way. See, out of the way, out of the way. And I'll just continue to remove this and put it into the strainer. And I did decide to put a big pan underneath my colander to collect the whey that drains off, because I plan to give this leftover whey to my pigs. They love it. This is still a good big chunk of curds there. I'm going to cut them in half. That was pretty deep. And guys, I'm just going to allow this to strain until I get home from work tonight. And then I will add the salt and any flavorings that I want to add, any seasonings. I have tried rosemary or some Italian seasoning, herbs. Guys, this makes the best cheese. The way that it is right now, I could just use it as cream cheese. But I'm going to let it drain and get all of the whey out. And I'm gonna make some good goat cheese I can keep in the fridge in an airtight container. Just add it to my salads. Or last year I actually made a dish of the goat cheese, 2 different dishes. I made a cheese dip out of it, and I also made a fruit dip out of it. Okay, I'm going to continue to strain this and get all the curds out, and I'll show you how I leave it to hang to drain. Okay, I emptied out the cheese that had strained into the colander into another pan, and I rinsed out my cheesecloth, and I'm going to put the cheese back in, or not the cheese yet, but the curds. And from here, I'm going to fold up each corner of this cheesecloth. This is kind of hard to do because I don't have my stand right here, but I've got each corner folded up, and I'm going to squeeze out as much of any liquid that might be remaining, and then I'm going to tie a rubber band here and hang it. Okay guys, I've got my cheese hanging, and I've just got it, the cheesecloth pulled up. I pulled up all the corners and then put a rubber band. I looped one side over, put the rubber band around both parts of that loop, which made a center hole here, which I put a rubber band through that center hole, put one end on this part of the wooden spoon, put the wooden spoon through the handle, and then put the other side of the loop on this side. And this will hang until I get home. And if it's finished draining, I don't know if you can see that, but it's steadily dripping, you know, the whey that was left over after I drained it in the colander. And I just put it here a few seconds ago, and it's already drained out this much. So this draining method works very well for me. I've not had any problems whatsoever getting my cheese to drain properly. Whenever I get home tonight, I'll check it. If it's ready to put into a bowl and season, I'll do that. If not, I may wait until in the morning. Just let it completely drain. And guys, you may remember how much milk I put into that Instapot. This is the whey that was left over. Now you may think that's a lot of liquid to go to waste. You know, why waste that milk? Well, the cheese is good enough to part with this whey, but I'm going to give this nutrient-filled whey to my pigs. But before I do that, I'm going to take out some, because this is full of probiotics, and when I get through milking this morning, I'm going to put probably another gallon of milk into the Instapot to make some more cheese. So I want to get a good bit of this cheese put into the freezer this year, which I didn't last year. I didn't have as much time in the mornings to get things like this put away. And, you know, I've got practically a whole freezer full of goat milk to use for making my soap. So I don't really need to save a lot of this. I've got plenty of extra. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make some other things with it.